Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Beda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om. Dear devotees, so we have been seeing as introduction to Narada Bhakti Sutras, we have been trying to understand who is Ishvara, who is the Jivatma, what is the relationship between them, what are the various stages of Bhakti, and what are the ways to Bhakti. So we saw that the entire Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, in a way, is an explanation of the Narada Bhakti Sutra. It is Narada Bhakti Sutras expanded, we can say. In the beginning of the Gospel itself, Sri Ramakrishna gives the gist of the Narada Bhakti Sutras. He gives 5 points, 5 disciplines. We can call it as 5 commandments of Sri Ramakrishna, or Sri Ramakrishna's sadhana panchakam, right? So first is seek holy company. So we need to be as much as possible in the company of holy people, people who also have the same goal as we have. And in Narada Bhakti Sutras, Narada will explain why holy company is important. So all these points, each of these points will be explained in detail in the Narada Bhakti Sutras. Then second, Sri Ramakrishna says, discriminate between permanent and transient. So we discussed about Shreyas and Preyas, right? And always at any point of time, whenever we are given an option, we can choose that option which has got a long-term benefit instead of a short-term benefit. And third is constantly chant the name of God. So we saw how to design our life in a way that we are constantly remembering the name of God. So in the Gita, Krishna says we need to develop a mind which is Mayi Aveshita Chetasam. So Mayi Aveshita Chetasam means a mind that is fully soaked in God. Just like a Rasagulla, how it is soaked in syrup. Similarly, the mind should be completely soaked in God. And to do that, Krishna gives 2 disciplines. One is Bhakti Sahita Karma Yoga and Bhakti Sahita Dhyana Yoga. So, Etu Sarvani Karmani Mayi Sanyasya Matparaha. So, having me as the goal, offer all your duties to me. And then, second one is meditate upon me. Right? So, Etu Sarvani Karmani Mayi Sanyasya Matparaha Ananyenaiva Yogena Mam Dhyayanta Upasate. So, the second line says Ananyenaiva Yogena Mam Dhyayanta Upasate, which is basically Bhakti Sahita Dhyana Yoga. Meditate upon the Lord. So, our entire life is divided into 2 parts. One is our life within the puja room and our life outside the puja room. So, within the puja room, meditate upon the Lord. Outside the puja room, do all the activities as offering to God. So, that way, our entire life is covered and is connected to Ishvara. Or you can say during the time of meditation, with eyes closed, we meditate upon the Lord. And at other times, with eyes open, we see this entire universe as a manifestation of God and do all our actions as offering to Ishvara. Everything that we do is a transaction with Ishvara only. There is no third entity in this universe. In fact, there is no second entity also. There is no I also separate from Ishvara. But till we reach there, we can say, I am there, Ishvara is there, there is no third entity. Now that is the Naradiya Bhakti. Looking upon this entire universe as Ishvara, do all actions towards Ishvara as a transaction with Ishvara, offering it to Ishvara. And to do that, occasionally we have to spend time in meditation. So, to constantly chant the name of the Lord, we saw right from waking up and anytime we eat something, anytime our mind is free, and before going to sleep. So, constantly chant the name of God and do all your duties with detachment. Sri Ramakrishna gives the example of the servant maid in a rich man's house. Do all our duties, knowing very well that our real relationship is only with Ishvara. But Ishvara has given us these duties, Ishvara has given us this family, Ishvara has given us this job, Ishvara has given us this society. So we will do all our duties to all these as an offering to Ishvara. Ishvara Prityartham. Everything that we do, we do for his pleasure only. That's why we say Priyatam Pundarikakshaha Sarvayajneshwaro Harihi Tasmin Tushte Jagat Tushtam Prinite Prinitam Jagat. Right? So we do everything for his Tushti, Tasmin Tushte. And if he is satisfied, Jagat Tushtam, the world will be satisfied. Prinite, if he is happy, Prinitam Jagat, the Jagat will be happy. So whatever we do for his satisfaction, his happiness, for him. So there is no difference between secular work and sacred work. There is no difference between going and buying groceries for the family or doing some social service or doing puja in the puja room or doing your profession in your work. There is no difference at all. All the work is to him only. Right? Every work that we do is a transaction with Ishvara only. Every work that we do is for his satisfaction only. This is the life that we need to live. A life constantly remembering the Lord. And that is why what we do, whether in our cell phone, blank screen, lock screen, or on our desktop, in the laptop, the background screen, in our purse, in our house, in our walls, in our shelf, everywhere possible, all around, put the picture of our Ishtadevata, put the picture of God, so that wherever we see, our eyes will fall on the form of God. That way we will be constantly remembering him, right? So a bhakta basically tries to fill all the spaces with the form of the Ishtadevata. The wallet, the purse, the cell phone, the laptop, the walls in the house, everywhere fill them with the form of the Lord so that you are constantly reminded of Ishvara and constantly repeat the name of the Lord. The name of God is not different from God himself. Sri Ramakrishna repeatedly says this also in the gospel. So this is the way of bhakti. And to do that, we also saw that occasionally take spiritual retreats every month or two, spend 1 or 2 days in solitude exclusively for full-time spiritual sadhana, and every year take 1 week off to spend exclusively for spiritual sadhana. And there are a lot of ashrams all over India who accommodate for this, because everyone knows this is a part of Bhakti Yoga, this is a part of Dhyana Yoga, this is a part of spiritual sadhana. So, a serious spiritual sadhaka is welcome in so many places in India to stay from 1 day to 1 week to even 15 days to do sadhana. You just, if you, there are so many places in Rishikesh, Haridwar, Tiruvannamalai, Vrindavan, and Omkareshwar, so many holy places where if you just say, I am a spiritual aspirant, I am a sadhaka, I want to spend 2 days, 3 days in one place, and I want to spend my entire time doing japa, meditation, and swadhyaya, reading holy books. They will welcome you, they will give you food, they will give you place to stay, and you can stay in a place and you can do spiritual sadhana. There are a lot of places all over India. You just have to show that you are a sadhaka and write to them, and they will be very, very happy to accommodate you. And of course, you pay some donation for availing the services, so that they also are able to sustain it. So, meditation in solitude, Vivikta Desha Sevitvam Aratir Jana Samsadi, Krishna says in the 13th chapter. So that is the fifth part of the spiritual disciplines. So all these things this is basically the summary of Narada Bhakti Sutras. Now, coming to Narada himself, who is Narada? Now, there are so many books published by different orders. This first book I shown you here, the blue one, is Naradar Kadaigal. It is a Tamil book, and similarly there are books in English. All this is published by Ramakrishna Math, Chennai, and there is this Tales of Narada by the famous Amar Chitra Katha, and so there are a lot of books, lot of literature, and another famous book in Tamil is Story of Narada by Balakumaran. That's also a very famous author. He also has written, and in every language you have so many books about the story, different stories of Narada. Now, Narada's life we come across in Bhagavatam, where Narada describes how he became a devotee of the Lord. So he says that in his previous birth, he was a son of a servant woman, and the servant woman did not even remember who his father was, but she was serving in the house of a rich man, and that person was a very philanthropic person, and he used to entertain sadhus. And once a group of sannyasis, sadhus and sannyasis had come, and they were staying a few days in the accommodation provided by that rich man, and his mother was asked to serve those people, and he was just 5 years old at that time. So his mother, there is no way or place to leave him, so his mother used to take him also along with her, and she used to leave him in the company of the sadhus, and she used to take care of the place, sweeping the place, cleaning the place, cooking for them, to do all kinds of service for the sadhus. And he spent the time with them, and he saw how they live their life, how they do kirtan, how they do swadhyaya, how they discuss the various stories of the Lord. He listened to them, and he was there, and they were also very gracious to let him be with them while his mother was doing all the work. And this blessing of the holy company, he was really happy with them, and that blessing changed his life. And after a few days, when they wanted to leave, This 5-year-old boy became very sad. He said, I want to come with you. I don't want to leave you. And they were sadhus and sannyasis. And obviously, they cannot take care of a 5-year-old child, too young. So they told him, see, now you are too young. When you reach sufficient age, when you can take care of yourself, then you come to us. That's what they told him. And they left him with his mother. And in the memory of the sadhus had taught him how to worship the Lord, how to do japa, and how to read the various stories of the Lord. They had taught him so many things. So, with whatever they taught him and in their remembrance, he spent his time in devotional activities. And due course of time, he grew up. And when he was the age when he can be independent, his mother also passed away, and he left everything and he joined the sadhus. He led a holy life, and he passed away in that lifetime. And because of the association with the sadhus and the spiritual life, the next life, he and by that time, like he had reached pretty lot of vairagya he had gained, because the only measure of spiritual life is vairagya. The renunciation is the only measure of spiritual development. If you remember, in the first meeting of Sri Ramakrishna and Narendra, Swami Vivekananda at Dakshineshwar, and Narendra's judgment of Sri Ramakrishna is, oh, he is a monomaniac. He's been living alone for a long time, and he is almost like a madman. But then Swamiji says, as Narendra, he says, but his renunciation is unfathomable, unbelievable. He has very, very high, supreme renunciation, and so he is a holy man. So the only sign of holiness is renunciation. Nothing else matters. Scholarship doesn't matter. Your puja doesn't matter. How many mantras you know by heart doesn't matter. And your clothes you wear doesn't matter. What, right? The only thing that matters is vairagya, renunciation. The more renunciation you have, the more holy you are. So renunciation is the only yardstick for spiritual life, for religious life. So, and he had developed enough renunciation, and the next birth, he was born as the Manasa Putra of Brahmaji himself, right? As sage Narada, Deva Rishi. And this life, that is what is described in the Bhagavatam. In the Chandogya Upanishad, there is the dialogue between Narada and Sanat Kumara. And interestingly, in this, Narada approaches Sanat Kumara as a scholar, but he has not yet got the self-realization. So he approaches Sanat Kumara, and Sanat Kumara asks Narada, what have you learnt? What is your credentials so far? What is your resume? What is your CV? And Narada brings a huge list of all the shastras that he has mastered, which includes the Vedas, the Vedanta, the grammar, the various arts, music, poetry, like dance, drama, sculpture, architecture, painting, everything, like a big list he gives. And he says he has studied, he has mastered all these things. Like they say, like the 64 classical arts, everything he has mastered. And then Sanat Kumara asks him, okay, if you have mastered everything, if you have studied everything, then why do you think you still need to learn from me? Why have you come here? And then Narada says, yes, I have studied everything, and the Vedas, the Upanishads that I have studied, they say, Atma vitu tarati shokam. The one who knows Atman crosses over all sorrow. Atma vitu tarati shokam. And I have shoka. I sometimes get subjected to sorrow, and by that I can conclude that I am not Atmavitu. So I have come to you. In fact, the first shloka of the Gita teaching, where Krishna says, Ashocyan anvashochastvam prajnavadamscha basase gatasun agatasuncha na anushocanti panditaha. The sign of wisdom is absence of sorrow. Na anushocanti. So Krishna starts the Gita teaching where he gives the primary characteristic of a Jivan Mukta, of a person who has realized the self. Self-realization and God realization are the same because it is God alone who is the self of all living beings. Right? So the words God realization and self-realization can be used interchangeably. That is what is Advaita. So Krishna says very clearly, Na anushocanti panditaha, right? And the Upanishads also say, Atmavid tarati shokam, right? Brahmavid apnoti param. So everywhere there are in so many statements which says the person who knows the self does not have sorrow. And Narada said, occasionally I am subject to sorrow. So I know that I am lacking Atma Jnanam. So I have come to you to learn. And Sanat Kumara teaches Atma Jnanam. And finally, the whole chapter ends with Bhumaiva Sukham na Alpe Sukham Asti. So the Sukham, real joy, happiness, bliss is only in Bhuma. Bhuma means infinite. Na Alpe Sukham Asti. In the finite, there is no Sukha at all. And so this is called the Bhuma Vidya in the Chandogya Upanishad. So there, Narada is the Shishya, he is the student, and Sanat Kumara is the teacher. So we see Narada attaining Brahma Jnana in that chapter of Chandogya Upanishad. And Narada appears in so many Puranas as the guru of several devotees. Right? So in Chandogya Upanishad, Narada comes as the Shishya, and in the Puranas, Narada comes as the Guru. And Narada is known as a Triloka Sanchari. He freely moves around in Devaloka, Ashuraloka, Bhuloka. Everywhere he goes around chanting the name of Narayana and teaching people, right? And some of the stories are very funny, and some of the story, and invariably all the stories have deep lessons. And in Bhagavatam, we find Narada is the one who teaches Dhruva. We all know the story of Dhruva. A 5-year-old boy is not allowed to sit on the lap of his father because he is the son of the second wife, or the wife who is not in good favor of his father. And so the other wife doesn't allow him to sit on his father's lap, and he is very sad. He comes and complains to his mother. His mother says, go and worship Vishnu, and Narada and Dhruva, he doesn't know how to worship, but he says, yes, I will go. He goes. And because this boy has so much of vairagya and he wants to worship Vishnu, so Narada comes and teaches him. He gives him the mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, and teaches Dhruva how to worship Vishnu. And he also describes the form of Vishnu, the standing form of Vishnu with Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma. And Dhruva meditates upon that form, and Vishnu appears in that form and blesses him. And in the beginning only, Narada tells Dhruva, hey Dhruva, like Dhruva says, I want to worship Vishnu to attain my kingdom. I want to claim my as a son of my father, and that is the reason why I want to worship Vishnu. And Narada tells Dhruva, hey Dhruva, like there are better higher things in life, and Vishnu will bless you with anything. And asking for acceptance by your father and asking for the kingdom of your father, these are all small things. But Dhruva, as a 5-year-old boy at that time, he says, no, 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 that is what I want. And then Narada says, okay, fine, no problem. You worship Vishnu, he will bless you. And Vishnu appears to Dhruva and blesses him with the kingdom and the favor of his father. And that is when Dhruva realizes, oh, Vishnu is so grand, I'm asking for such a small thing. And then he tells Vishnu, like, oh Lord, after seeing you, I want you only, I don't want anything else. But Vishnu says, no, because you started your sadhana with this purpose, I have to bless you with that. You will get that. And after enjoying that, when you develop more vairagya, then you will come to me. And Dhruva says, okay, fine. And then he becomes the a rightful heir and becomes the king. And later he again continues to do bhakti and develops more vairagya. And finally, Vishnu gives him the self-realization. And we also know the story of Prahalada. Prahalada is the, so there is a Devashura Yuddha. Devas and Asuras are fighting, and the Devas imprison the wife of Hiranyakashipu, and she is pregnant at that time, and they imprison her, and obviously, like as per the rules of the law and as per dharma, they will not hurt her because she is a non-combatant. So they imprison her just to put pressure on Hiranyakashipu. And later, and during that imprisonment, Narada comes to the Devas and then asks for access to her. And they say, yeah, like you can engage her. And Narada tells the various stories of Ishvara. He tells the glory of Ishvara, of Narayana. And the Garbha Shishu is listening to all that. And after a few months, the Devas release her back to Hiranyakashipu. But then the Garbha Shishu has already heard about about Bhakti, has heard about Narayana, about the Lord. And so when he is born as Prahalada, right from birth itself, he has all the knowledge that he has heard from Narada, and he leads a devoted life, and which is obviously not to the liking of Hiranyakashipu. And then we all know the story how Narasimha Avatara comes and to take care of his father. His father, actually, like it is more of a blessing. Hiranyakashipu basically did tapasya, and then he asked for the boon that I should not die outside or inside, morning or evening, by human or animal, by this or that. He gave a big list. I should not die by this or that, this or that, this or that. And Brahmaji said, Tatastu. So in a way, actually, it is a boon. He is asking, I want to die by this condition. Because whenever you say, I don't want to die by this condition, whatever is excluded automatically becomes a condition for which you want to die. So basically, he has been asking for death under these conditions. Right? That is how the logic works. And the Lord comes and blesses Prahalada, blesses Hiranyakashipu, grants him basically Narayana grants Hiranyakashipu the death that he has asked for as Narasimha. Satyam Vidatum Nijabritya Bhashanam, says Bhagavatam at that time. So he says basically the Lord comes to fulfill uh, the truth, the words of his devotees. Right. So Prahlada also is taught by Narada even before his birth. Dhruva when he was a 5-year-old boy, but Prahlada even before his birth. And Narada is also also instrumental in the composition of the Itihasas, the Ramayana and Mahabharata. So Valmiki, when he was right before he was became a saint, he was Ratnakara, he was a robber, and so he was robbing people and even killing people, and to serve his family. And when Narada was trying to go that side, people told him like, no, Ratnakara is there, don't go there. He said like, no, I am a devotee of the Lord, I am a sadhu, I don't need to fear anything. And he went. And when Valmiki came and threatened him, Narada said like, I don't have anything valuable in a worldly sense, but I have something which is valuable in the spiritual sense. And Valmiki, and then Ratnakara asked like, what is this, what is that, and all that. And then Narada asked Valmiki, why are you doing this? Asked Ratnakara, why are you doing this horrible work? He said, I am doing this to serve my family. And Narada said, but by doing robbery and killing people, you are getting lot of papa. Now your family, you are saying you are doing this to serve your family, to bring money to your family. But will your family members take share in your papa also? And Ratnakara says, yes, surely they will. And Narada said like, no, I don't think so. Why don't you go and ask them? And Ratnakara ties Narada to a tree, and then he goes home and asks his wife, see, I want to tell you a truth. I have been earning money by robbing and killing. And so I hope you will take some share of the papa also, which I accrue because of that. And his wife said like, no, 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 like it is a duty of a husband to serve the wife. Your duty as a householder is to bring money to the family. Now, how you bring money, that is up to you. So we cannot take share of your papa. And he becomes shocked. And then he asks the same question to his old parents, to his children. Everyone say like, we want your money, but we don't want your papa. And that is a eye opener to Narada. And so then Ratnakara comes back, and then he asks Narada. He immediately falls at the feet of Narada, unties him, and then says, you are right. You have opened my eyes. This is the world. And what should I do? And Narada says, I will teach you Rama Mantra, and you chant that, and you will, all your sins will get washed away. And then he tries to tell him Rama. And Valmiki, the Ratnakara was so uncultured and coarse that he could not even tell that word. Then Narada points to a tree and says, what is that? And he says, Mara. That is Mara. Mara means tree. He says, good. You keep repeating that. So Ratnakara starts repeating Mara, 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 Mara. And obviously, like Mara, Mara, when repeated repeatedly, is Rama. So he couldn't even repeat the name of Rama. He could only tell Mara. But Narada initiated him into the Rama mantra that way, and asked him to, he just said, don't worry about anything. live as simple life as possible, and keep repeating this as much as possible. And he started with and started doing it more and more intense. And eventually he was sitting and repeating the name of Rama, completely forgetting everything, that an ant hill grew over him. And then he realized the Lord. And again the Lord appeared before him. And the because he came out of an ant hill, he was called Valmiki. Valmiki means one who has come out of an ant hill. And later also, now Valmiki lived in in an ashram just on the outskirts of Ayodhya. And when he was living there, he one, like that is when Rama was ruling Ayodhya. And then Sita was because of that Dobi who had asked for the like purity, questioned the purity. Then Rama decided to leave Sita in a forest so that some rishi can take care. Obviously, Rama knew Valmiki was there, and he knew that he will take care of her. And so Sita reached Valmiki ashram. Sita was living there, and then Lava, Kusha, all those things happened. And one day Valmiki was thinking, like, who is the person who is, like, who is good, and who is the example for the entire world. And with that in mind, he was there. And he was sitting in his ashram. He saw a hunter. There were two birds, a male bird and a female bird. They were having some good time. And at that time, the hunter shot the male bird, and it died. And Valmiki became so sad looking at this. He said, like, hey, hunter, is this the time that you have to kill the bird? And out of great grief, uh, like a poetry came out of his mouth in Anushtup Chandas. And he was really surprised because what is this? Like, this looks very different. And then Narada came there. And so and Valmiki asked this question to Narada: who is the person who is the perfect person in this world? And then Narada told Valmiki the story of Rama. And then that was expanded by Valmiki as the Ramayana. So in the Valmiki Ramayana, the first 100 shlokas tell the story of how the Ramayana started. And in that we have the entire the gist of the entire Ramayana in 100 verses, which is taught by Narada to Valmiki. And then Narada only blesses Valmiki with the vision, the complete knowledge of Ramayana. And then Valmiki composes Ramayana. So it is Narada's blessing that we have Ramayana. And the similar thing happens with Vyasa also. After composing the Mahabharata, Vyasa still is not satisfied. He has written the Brahma Sutras. He has compiled all the Vedas into Rig, Sama, Yajur Veda. He has composed Mahabharata, which has the Bhagavad Gita also. So he has done everything. The entire Prasthanatraya, Vyasa has done. He has organized the Vedas, Upanishads. He has written the Brahma Sutras, and he has written the Mahabharata, including the Bhagavad Gita. And still he was not satisfied. And so Narada comes to and asks him, Vyasa Maharishi, why are you sad? Vyasa says, like, I have not given enough to this world. In the Kaliyuga, like people, I don't know if they can read all these things and get benefited. So I don't know what I should do, but I know that something is missing. I don't know what. That's what Vyasa says. And Narada tells Vyasa that he has to create a Bhakti Grantha, because in Kali Yuga, Bhakti is the main means to reach the Lord. And then Vyasa asks Narada, like, what is the glory of Bhakti? And Narada explains to Vyasa what is Bhakti, what is the glory of Bhakti, and everything. And based on Narada's instruction, Vyasa composes the Srimad Bhagavatam. The Bhagavata Mahapurana was composed by Vyasa because of Narada. So that way, we have Ramayana also as the inspiration given to Valmiki by Narada, and we have Srimad Bhagavatam also because of the inspiration given to Vyasa by Narada. So he is instrumental in both these great Bhakti Granthas. And also there are several stories of Narada in the Puranas, some of them official, some of them unofficial, some of them are more folklore, some of them are there in the scriptures. So it's a mix of everything, but Narada comes in several stories, and some of the stories we are very familiar to us. So once Narada asks Krishna, hey Krishna, what is Maya? And Krishna asks, oh really, you want to know about Maya? He says, yes, I want to know about Maya, but don't delude me, but I want to know about Maya. But Krishna says, okay, temporarily we'll see. And Narada and Krishna are walking in a desert kind of place, where in a dry place. At the time, they find one tree, and they rest under the tree. And Krishna tells Narada, hey Narada, can you fetch me some water? Narada says, yes, I will get. And he senses the air, and there is one direction from which there is some humidity. So he goes in that direction, and there he finds a river, a stream running, and he goes there with the pot to fetch water for Krishna. And in that river, he finds another young woman who is also fetching water, and she looks very beautiful, very cultured. She looks like a devotee also. And immediately Narada feels attracted to her, and Narada asks the woman, I want to marry you. Will you agree? And she says, you come and ask my father. And Narada follows her to her father's house, and he asks her father, I want to marry your daughter. His father says, okay. And then they marry, they settle down, and in due course of time, they have a few children, and he lives happily with 4 or 5 children. And at that time, like there is a big flood in the river, and he is holding his wife and 2 children in one hand and one child on the shoulder, and the water current keeps increasing, and his wife could not sustain, and she loses grip, and she is washed away in the water and dies. And then he tries to hold on to his children, and one by one the children are also washed away, and finally all the children are washed away in the flood. And he is totally grief stricken, and sitting at the side of the river, he is crying, oh my wife is gone, my children are gone, I am alone. He is crying. And at that time Krishna comes, taps at his shoulder from behind and says, hey Narada, you had gone to fetch water for me, what happened? And that is when Narada wakes up, And then suddenly he realizes, oh, what did I go through? And then Krishna smiles and says, now you know what is Maya. So this beautiful story comes in the Bhagavatam. And there's a similar story with in the Yoga Vashishta also. There is a of Pandit named Gadi, and you can read that story. A slight variation, and but very similar story. So Narada's story about how Narada faces Maya is a very beautiful story. So basically, we need to remember that I am the pure consciousness, and this entire life, this entire world, all these experiences are like a movie which runs in front of me. I am the screen. I am unaffected by any of them. This is the crux of the whole story, right? And there is another story like where again Narada asks Krishna, who is the best devotee? And Krishna takes Narada to one a farm, and there is a farmer who is busy in the farm all through the day. And in the morning, after once when he wakes up, he says Narayana, Narayana, and then he goes and does all his work. And in the night, after finishing all the work, he says Narayana, Narayana, and he goes to sleep. All through the day, he is busy working, working, working for the farm, for his family, tending to the farm, tending to the animals, everything. So Narada asks Krishna, hey, how can he be the greatest devotee? He is busy all the day. He never remembers you throughout the day. Just during the beginning of the day and end of the day, he just says Narayana, Narayana twice. How can he be your devotee? And Krishna says, like, see, for a person who doesn't have anything to do, it is easy to remember the Lord. But for a person who is busy all through the day, even remembering the Lord twice a day is real devotion, is a great devotion. Narada says, how can it be? And then Krishna tells Narada, like, I will give you a work, you do. Can you do? He says, yes. So Krishna gives a pot full of water to the brim, keeps it on Narada's head, and then says, you go around this mountain carrying this pot of water on your head without spilling even one drop. And Narada says, yes. And he goes around, you can see in the picture, right? He goes around the mountain, like focusing with full focus, full attention on the pot without spilling even one drop. He goes around and comes and then says, see, I have done it. And Krishna asks Narada, when you are going around the mountain, how many times did you remember the name of Narayana? Then Narada recollects back, and then he realizes that he never once thought about Narayana while going around the mountain. He said, like, how can I remember? Like, I had my entire concentration was on the pot so that I should not spill even one drop of water. And Krishna says, like, see, that is the life of these householders. They are busy all through the day doing so much of work. And even if they are able to remember to some extent the name of Narayana, that is really a wonder. And this farmer is remembering me every day, morning and evening, even though he has got so much of work. So he is a great devotee. And Narada has to agree to it. So basically, like, that is what this all, each story of Narada is a lesson. So in spite of all our worldly duties, the more we remember the Lord is immensely happy with that, right? So it is He who has given us all these duties, and in the midst of all these duties, if we remember the Lord, that is devotion, that is bhakti. And there is another beautiful story again of Narada. Once Narada goes to Dwaraka, and in Dwaraka, like Krishna lives with Satyabhama, Rukmini, right? Like, and other queens. And when he went there, Rukmini was busy doing some puja. So Satyabhama was there. So she invited Narada, uh, asked him to come in. So Narada came in to the palace, and Satyabhama told Narada, "Hey Narada, I am really lucky to have you visit us. I will give you whatever you want." And Narada said, "Hey Satyabhama, are you really sure? Don't make such promises without thinking." She said, like, "No, no, no, I'm very happy that you have come. I will give you whatever you want." And Narada, the naughty, and Narada, he said, "Are you sure?" She said, "Yes. Ask me whatever you want." And Narada said, "I want Krishna. Give me Krishna. I want to take Krishna with me." And then Satyabhama said, like, "How can I give you Krishna? He is my husband. He is the lord of this house." But Narada said, "You told that you will give whatever I ask for, whatever I want. I want Krishna." And then at that time, Krishna came from inside. He said, "Hey, what is happening?" And then Narada told Krishna the entire story. See, Satyabhama promised me that she will give me anything I ask for. And I asked for you. And now she says she will not give you to me. And Krishna said, "Hey, what is this, Satyabhama? You have promised. So I have to go with him. I will go with him. I will leave." And Satyabhama started crying. "Oh, how can it be? How can I leave you? How can you go?" And, like, this is basically a story. But Satyabhama, the problem is Satyabhama has considered Krishna as the physical form of Krishna. This Krishna can be in Dwaraka also, and he can be in Hastinapura also. He saved Draupadi being in Dwaraka, right? Draupadi, that's what he worshiped. She cried to Krishna, "Hey Dwaraka Vasin." She was 100% sure that even though Krishna is in Dwaraka, he hears, he knows what is happening here. He hears my cry, and he can instantly help. He can be everywhere. He is omnipresent. He is Sarvagataha. So for a moment, looks like Satyabhama had forgotten that Krishna is everywhere and Krishna can be everywhere. So she thought if Krishna goes with Narada, then Krishna will not be there in Dwaraka with me. She started crying. And when she started crying, then Krishna told Narada, "Hey Narada, see, she is crying. Can you give some concession to her?" Then Narada said, "Okay, fine. Give me something valuable equal to the weight of Krishna." Then Satyabhama said, "Okay, fine. I will give gold equal to his weight." Again, Satyabhama was arrogant that she was so rich. She had so much gold. So Narada said, "Okay." Smilingly, he said, "Okay." And then they brought a tulabhara, a scale, a beam balance. And Krishna sat on one side and equal to Krishna's weight, thinking, okay, fine, Krishna will be what, like 70 kg, 80 kg, 60 kg, whatever. She kept that much amount of gold on the other side of the balance. And not even 1 inch the balance got up. Krishna was heavier than all the gold that she had kept on the other side of the balance. And she again went around, took everything, all the gold that she had, even whatever gold jewelry she was wearing, she removed and put it onto that beam balance on the other side of the balance. And it even did not even move 1 inch. No amount of gold could equal to the weight of Krishna. Of course, she had already kept more than 100 kg, 200 kg of gold on that side, but it did not even move a bit. And then Narada said, "Okay, if you cannot give the equal to Krishna's weight, then I will take Krishna only." Then again Satyabhama started crying. "Oh, how can you do that? Like, what will I do now?" She was crying. And hearing all this commotion, by the time Rukmini had finished her puja, Rukmini came out and she saw Krishna sitting in the beam balance on one side and gold kept on the other side, and Narada there, and she saw Satyabhama standing there without any gold ornaments because everything she had kept on that side and crying. She asked, like, what is happening? What here? Then Satyabhama immediately went and hugged her. Oh, Didi, oh, sister, like, we are going to lose Krishna. This Narada is going to take Krishna away from us. Then so Rukmini said, what do you mean? How can anyone take Krishna from anyone? He is Sarvagataha. He is everywhere. No one can remove him from anywhere in this world. This entire world is a manifestation of Krishna. How can anyone remove Krishna from any location, anywhere? He is the world. He is everything. Then Satyabhama said, like, see, this is what happened. Narada asked for Krishna. I told him I will give him. Then Narada finally said he will take something equal to the weight of Krishna. And I have put so much of gold here and still nothing is happening. Then Rukmini told Satyabhama, hey, what a foolish girl you are. How can you compare Krishna to gold? How can you weigh him equivalent to gold? He is not, even whatever amount of gold you give, you cannot equal to him. You cannot buy him by gold. Then Satyabhama said, oh, then what can we do? Narada will take away Krishna. She said, no, don't worry, remove all the gold. And then all the gold was removed. And then Rukmini took one leaf of tulsi and prayed, Hey Krishna, Hey Krishna, Hey Krishna, and put that one leaf of tulsi on the other side of that balance. And immediately that tulsi side went down, and Krishna sitting went up, and the balance was tilted the other way around. So that one leaf of tulsi chanted with Krishna's name with devotion was heavier than the body, the physical form of Krishna. So immediately Satyabhama was very happy, and Narada was also very happy. He took that tulsi as prasad and he was happy to go. So the moral of the story is, we should not be carried away by the form of Ishvara. The form of Ishvara is not the point here. And you cannot buy devotion by any amount of gold. It is pure bhakti that by which you can attain Ishvara. So that is the nama of Ishvara is what is important, not the form of Ishvara. So that is what this story shows. And there is another story where Narada goes to Kailasha with the fruit, and there he gives the fruit to Shiva and says, this fruit is this is a fruit of knowledge, fruit of immortality. I got it from one great rishi. So I thought, because you are the Lord of the world, you are the one who deserves this fruit. So I came and came. He gave the fruit to Shiva, and Shiva said, see, I am knowledge itself, and this fruit will be more useful to maybe to Parvati, because she is the one who is managing this entire universe. She needs this fruit more than me, because I don't do anything. I just keep sitting. She is the one who runs this world. So he gave the fruit to Parvati and said, you take this fruit. And as any mother would do, Parvati said, like, no, I want to give the fruit to my children. So she called Ganesha and Kartikeya and said, children, this great sage has given this very rare fruit. So take this fruit. And then it was one fruit. So she said, I will cut the fruit into two and give one half to Ganesha, one half to Kartikeya. And Narada said, like, no, this is fruit of knowledge. Half knowledge has no value. Only full knowledge has value. So the fruit has to be given to one person only without cutting it. So then, okay, fine, there are two children whom to give the fruit to. Then Parvati said, Narada, you only suggest what to do. Then Narada said, okay, let us keep a competition. Whoever wins the competition, that person can take the fruit between Ganesha and Kartikeya. So what competition? He said, the one who goes around the world and comes first will take the fruit. And immediately Kartikeya said, like, great. Because Kartikeya was a small, lean boy. He has got a Vahana, which is the peacock. So immediately he jumped onto his peacock and flew away to circle the world and come to win the race. Now Ganesha, a stout boy, big body, and his Vahana is only a small mouse, a poor mouse. He was no match for Kartikeya to go around the world like that. But then Ganesha was thinking, what is this world? This world is a manifestation of Ishvara. Shiva and Parvati, they are the God. This entire universe is nothing but a manifestation of Shiva and Parvati only. So he asked Narada, hey Narada, this entire universe, is it different from Ishvara? Narada said, like, no, this entire universe is nothing but a manifestation of Ishvara only. Then Ganesha said, then Shiva and Parvati are here. They are the world. The world is not apart from them. Narada said, yes, you are right. Then Ganesha went around Shiva and Parvati with great devotion. He walked around them. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. He went around Shiva and Parvati, and Ganesha said, now I deserve the fruit. Narada said, yes, you are right. And Shiva also agreed. Parvati also agreed. And then the fruit was given to Ganesha. And at that time, Kartikeya had completed his round around the world on his peacock. He was very confident that he will be able to win the fruit. And when he came and saw that already Ganesha had the fruit, he said, what is this? It is unfair. And they said, see, Ganesha had understood that this entire universe is a manifestation of Ishvara only. So going around Ishvara is equal to going around the world. And so he deserves the fruit. So the moral of the story is Vishwarupa Ishvara Bhava is the prerequisite for Atma Jnanam. The Jnana Phalam, the self-knowledge, God realization. So what is the prerequisite for God realization? Vishwarupa Ishvara Bhava. Considering this entire universe as the manifestation of Ishvara is the prerequisite for gaining Atma Jnanam. So that is what Krishna also tells in the Bhagavad Gita, right? So this entire universe is my manifestation, and that is what Swami Vivekananda also says, Shiva Jnane Jiva Seva, right? Serving the world is serving the Lord. That is what in the Bhagavata Shastram also calls as Pada Sevanam. Pada Sevanam does not mean serving the feet of the Lord. Pada means part. This entire universe is a part of Ishvara. So Pada Sevanam means serving the world as Ishvara. So that is the prerequisite for, that is the qualification needed for Atma Jnanam. So thus various stories of, there are so many stories of Narada. Similarly, you can find in various books. And every story has a beautiful moral in spiritual life. And that is the speciality of Narada. Yeah, any questions from anyone?
Yes, Ji. Actually, you told about the Narada story, right? About the
Mm,
farmer who works every day, but only he says to God one morning as well as in the night. Okay.
mm,
So me and my friend had a discussion regarding the
mm,
Bhagavatam, where it says that we need to say God's name whenever every time. You also said
mm.
many times. So he
Yes.
said that what is the need of doing that instead of what to say, right? Morning or two times and evening two times. He was saying that angle. So I was not able to
Ah,
justify. So as you told the story, so it
mm.
so I just wanted to ask
Yeah.
what should be the
Yes. See, basically, like this is this is called Arthavada. So basically, you know, uh, you glorify the effort. So the whatever small amount of chanting the name of the Lord, right, which the farmer did. So that is really great. Like it's a good place to start, and it's a good encouragement for people, right?
yeah
And also another thing is Narada was arrogant, right? He was proud that, oh, I am a great devotee of God, right? I am remembering the Lord's name always. So that is where Krishna gave this work and showed to Narada that, like, see, if when you are busy in work, you cannot remember the name of the Lord, right?
yeah
So basically, like a person who doesn't have any work, sitting idle and chanting the name of the Lord always is fine. It is good. He is spending his time the right way. But then he cannot consider himself as greater than another person who is busy all day with no time to think about the Lord, right?
yeah
You cannot develop arrogance with by that,
yeah.
right? So that the moral of the story is more of you should not be arrogant, because if you are put in the situation of another person, you don't know whether you'll remember the Lord at all, right? So never be arrogant, and also take the lesson that even as whatever extent you have to remember the Lord, right? That is the whole thing.
Yeah, so that's what I tried to say. That
Yeah,
water
yeah,
extent we can remember, but he said that in that story they
mm,
say only two times, so that
yeah.
is enough. That's what he was trying to
Ah.
say.
So, and another way to interpret the story is okay, like Narada keeps singing loudly the name of the Lord always, right? Whereas this farmer, you can say, okay, fine, he was singing loudly twice a day, but then rest of the time probably he's doing his work as a offering to Ishvara, right?
Yeah, yeah, that can
So
be. Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
thank you. See, even in the Ramayana, Lakshmana stayed with Rama and served Rama for the 14 years. Whereas Bharata, he took Rama's Paduka and he was ruling Ayodhya in the name of Rama. So, though physically he was not with Rama, mentally he was always with Rama and he was doing Rama Kaikarya. He never thought he was the king. He lived a austere life just like Rama and Lakshmana in the outskirts of the city in Nandigram. And he was ruling the kingdom on behalf of Rama. He was doing all the work for Rama, right? So now these are the two ways to serve Ishvara. One is to serve Ishvara, to serve the world, to work in this world, to help the people in this world, to work for the living beings in this world, for their welfare, like what Bharata did. Bharata's Kaikariya to Rama. The other one is, like you be a monk and you be with the Lord and you serve the Lord, like how Lakshmana served Rama. These are the two examples of serving Ishvara. One is Bharata style, other one is Lakshmana style. Lakshmana style is directly to Ishvara, right? And the Bharata style is take care of the world because the world belongs to Ishvara. But in both cases, you have to remember Ishvara always. That is what is important.
Yeah, thanks, Ji.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Namaste. Gandhi here. Can I speak?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah, because is there any particular book we are following? Because the stories are increasing. From
Mm-hmm.
childhood, we have been hearing piecemeal of these stories in various places.
Mm-hmm.
One. Second thing, there is a book, Narada Bhakti Sutra by Sri Swami Shivananda from the Rishikesh.
Mm-hmm.
That's the book I have been reading. So
Mm-hmm.
it is very brief as I see it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So,
So
would you advise any guidance for us from you?
yes. So far we are still in the introduction only. So as I told you, like we
Yes.
will start the Narada Bhakti Sutra from the next class.
Mm,
So today it was just for us to get to know who Narada is, right?
mm,
It is
mm,
more of a Guru
yes.
Vandana because Narada is the
Mm,
Guru when we take up Narada Bhakti Sutra. So what we did today is Guru Vandana and Guru Smarana, right? Thinking
okay.
about Narada, understanding Narada through various stories of his life and
Mhm,
his exploits. And so the book which I would be mainly following is this book, Narada Bhakti Sutra, and this is by Swami Prabhavananda. So Ramakrishna Mutt has published three books on Narada Bhakti Sutras. One is by Prabhavanandji, one is by Tyagishanandji, and another one by Bhuteshanji. So this is the book which I would mainly follow uh, for this series.
okay. Thank you very much, Gokul
Thank
sir.
you.
Kuji,
Okay. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
good morning, namaste.
Namaste, ma'am.
So, from everything that we've been hearing, I mean, I missed a
Mm,
couple because I had other commitments.
mm.
I had to take class, etc. So, I think the key word is sincerity, right?
Sincere, constant remembrance.
Mm.
100. So basically, like, see, that's what, whatever we discussed in the last class, no? Mane, kone, vane, right? So 24 bar 7, remember the Lord. The way to remember the Lord is to chant his name mentally. So when you say remember the Lord, remember the Lord. What do you mean by remember the Lord? So chanting the name of the Lord mentally is remembering the Lord. Okay. So 24 bar 7, chant the name of the Lord. To be able to do that, morning and evening, sit and do your sadhana.
Mm.
And to give more force to that, every month spend 1 day or half a day for spiritual sadhana. And every
Mm.
year spend 1 week for spiritual sadhana.
Mm.
This whole package, right,
Right.
is what is to be followed. And with your eyes open, serve the world, seeing Ishvara in this world. With your eyes closed, meditate upon the Lord.
Mm.
That's what Krishna says in the 12th chapter, 6th shloka. Right? That one shloka, 12th chapter, 6th shloka, that one shloka is the summary of the entire Bhakti sadhana.
Thank you.
Thank you. त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देवा. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Jai Ram Krishna Jai.